Hi, everyone. It's Henry DeVries with Agency Rainmaker TV. This is where we help agency owners, advertising agency, marketing consultants, digital marketing agencies, PR agencies. We help them make it rain to find right fit clients. And of course, we're always advising people that the number one marketing tool you can have is a book. And I have an author of a book, Self-Help on the Go, Dr. Carrie Johansson. Dr. Carrie, so great that you could join us today.
Great to be here, Henry. It's nice to see you.
Well, it's nice to see you too. And for full disclosure, I was the editor and I helped Dr. Carrie publish her book that is doing very well. I invited her on because we wanted to talk about how to set client boundaries. If we don't set proper boundaries, then we get pushed all over and we get pushed out of where we should be. And that's investing time in business development to make it rain. So that's something we're going to talk about today. But first, Dr. Carrie, could you tell us who are your clients?
Absolutely, Henry. My clients are agency owners and the owners of companies that have small teams that need a little bit of training. So my focus is on helping people learn using proven psychological principles. I've been in private practice as a psychologist for 21 years. Now I'm a speaker and author, and my job is to help people communicate better, have less conflict, and perform with less drama. And that is really helpful if you are running a small, medium-sized company.
Well, let's talk about what you do for clients and how you help them achieve those things. Please share.
Absolutely. So I do a combination of things. One of my favorite things to be doing right now is small group training. So I've done several working with companies where I'm working with the leadership team to help them understand better how to manage below and then have that trickle down. And then also then sometimes working with the team below them. And the point is to give them tools so that they can get their employees and the management more smoothly working together. I don't know if you've been reading the articles in Forbes magazine about things like the conflicts around return to work. And, there's just a lot of concern with management about their employees being very fragile, very sensitive to feedback, and kind of revolting against things that used to just be typical business standards. So I come in and talk about how to set standards that are more inviting, less pushy, better received, and it results in better communication.
I've not only read some of those Forbes.com articles, I've written them. It is the struggle is real, Dr. Carrie.
Struggle is real.
It is out there. So the thing I wanted to talk about today, and I know you talk about a lot of great things like how to break the whole feedback victim cycle with employees, but I wanted to talk more about this boundary subject today. I'm publishing an article in Forbes.com here in June that's going to be about some research from the Agency Marketing Institute, which coincidentally out of Denver, where you are.
Oh, awesome.
And Audience Audit, a company out of Phoenix, Arizona. And they've done a study of 512 clients, people who are clients of agencies, and did attitude research with them and found they fit into 3 groups. So I wanted to tell you about the 3 groups, and then let's have a discussion about what boundaries might be appropriate for them.
That sounds fantastic.
The first group that they identified, and it's 30% of the clients out there, are called relationship builders. They really want a relationship with the agency. It's not a transaction. This is something they're seeing as long-term, that they want them to be bringing ideas and innovation, creativity to them, and they want to flow this back. And they also said in the studies, they're very open to, if you have ideas to improve marketing and there's a cost associated with it, that's fine. Present those to us. That's one group.
Yeah, very collaborative.
What's that?
Very collaborative.
Very collaborative. Yes, absolutely. The second group, they called them staff prioritizers. This is the biggest group. They're 43%. And they need help from agencies to expand what they can do, especially in this era of the Great Resignation and quiet quitting, and where there's a talent war and all this. So sometimes you need to bring in more troops. You need more people to help you. So that's what they're about. The third group, 26%, are labeled as the savings seekers. And this is all about budget. And this is all about, can you do it cheaper? Can you do it faster, better, cheaper than we're doing it now?
now.
And they're not open to ideas for, oh, if they could do it better, but it'll cost more. No, they don't want those ideas. It's just like, how can you do it cheaper? We're really being driven by the dollars. So we have those three groups. Let's take them one at a time. If you were going to set boundaries with the relationship builders, what would be on your mind, Dr. Carrie?
Well, and one thing that I would say that will apply to all three is when I'm talking to folks in the workplace, I use the word standards instead of boundaries. So boundaries are essentially where we show someone where our limits are, and we've gotten really confused in our culture, and we've confused boundaries with just bossing someone around. I set a boundary. I told them they couldn't do that. That's not actually a boundary. That's just shoving somebody around. A boundary is, here's what would work for me. Here's our limits. Here's what we do. Here's what we don't do. And in the workplace, I call those standards. And it's interesting that we start with the relationship builders, because the relationship clients, they sometimes are going to need you to set some boundaries or standards around not getting overly personal, because my guess is that they're going to want to feel close, right? The relationship is their currency. And on some level, that is terrific. And those tend to be the clients we like a lot, right? Because you feel close to them and they feel close to you. But that can also be a slippery slope, because at the end of the day, you are serving a need for a client, and there is a business and a monetary transaction there. And so setting the standards with those clients about being very clear about when is this business, and then taking some time to talk about the personal aspects of things, and to also meter yourself a little bit. This isn't your best friend. They might speak to you like they're your best friend. They aren't your best friend. They actually still are your client. And so having a little bit of that differentiation and separation is important to just ensure the business relationship flourishes.
I might be going dark here, but I always say that clients are not going to attend your funeral.
Right.
Clients aren't going to be at your funeral. And sadly, I went to a funeral last year of somebody who was in his 70s,
Right.
And he passed, and basically he was retired. And I talked to one man who was there, and I said, well, how did you know Jeff? And he goes, oh, I was Jeff's client. He really set me up with my financial future and all this. And I said, oh, and were you good friends? No, but I just wanted to honor him and come today. And I said, okay, you disproved my saying. I guess there is a client out there somewhere that might attend your funeral. But yeah, we're friendly, but we're not best friends.
Right.
It's still business. So I like standards, Dr. Carrie.
Yeah.
That's a great word. Okay, well, moving on to our staff prioritizers, the people who need, fresh troops, more troops. They need help. How do we set standards or boundaries with them?
Interestingly, with that group, some of the standards that you're going to set are going to be contingent on what they need. Because my guess is for the staff prioritizers, they're looking to fill their team, and they're probably also looking to solve a specific problem. So let's say they need more folks who are more skilled in IT, or they need more folks who are, willing to go out into the field or something like that. The standards that you are going to be looking for are going to match what they need. So in some ways, the boundaries that you set with them, you might think that they'd be most collaborative with the relationship builders. Those are the ones that you're actually going to set kind of behind the scenes. With the staff prioritizers, the standards are going to be really getting clear about what they need, what they're looking for, and what your role is in fulfilling that, so that the expectations are met. Does that make sense?
Total sense. And that's just good conversations. Somebody I've had on the show, Brian Gertzner of White Label, and their business is helping agencies who need to have more staff to serve the agency clients who need more staff. So, and they provide them white label. One of the things I loved in their marketing materials, and I just thought it was genius, is they hand out to clients a list of their hours and US holidays. And it shows that they're open 9 to 5. It's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then it said Saturday closed, Sunday closed. And then they listed, I'm not sure of their holidays, but, President's Day, Memorial Day, 4th of July, closed. And they had another sheet for their people in India. And they had their hours in India that they were open and closed. And then they had a list of the Indian holidays that they're closed. And I just thought it set it up right away that, yeah, we're here for you, but we're not here for you Sunday at 8 p.m. We're not here for you on the 4th of July or, the equivalent national holiday in India, that there are some standards here in working with us. So I think it just validates what you're saying.
And being clear in writing up front, that's the easiest way to set standards and have them be respected. It's very difficult to have almost no standards and then try and scooch them in. If you start a little bit more rigid and then you scooch them out, then you look really flexible, which is awesome. And that clarity in writing, that conversation around what are your expectations? Here's how we typically work. That's all boundary setting. And it's just clear communication.
So when I was an agency president, we had a group of clients that were high-end country clubs. So they'd usually be attached to a high-end community. It would be a country club. And a country club, by definition, has all these rules you have to follow.
Yes.
And we were giving the job of explaining the rules to minimum wage employees to high net worth individuals. This was not a good formula. So then we learned that we needed to print the rules, and not just on a sheet of paper, we would print them on a wall. And the more expensive the membership, the more elaborate and expensive was the rule wall, where it would be marble and there would be bronze and it would be these rules. So the minimum wage employer said, "Oh, I wish I could, but the rules," and they would point to the wall. That seemed to help. So I just wanted to validate. I don't have a degree in psychology, but I did have a minor in college, and I learned a thing or two about this. Well, let's talk about the saving seekers, those 26%. They're all about the money. They're all about, cheaper, cheaper, cheaper. What are standards or boundaries we should have there?
So typically, and obviously not all the time, but typically the saving seekers tend to be your folks who are going to push your boundaries the most, because they're going to want more for less. And that is a great recipe for resentment if you don't set your standards early and clearly. So with the saving seekers, really getting clear about what service you're providing them, when, how, and for how much, and to not deviate from that even when they're pushing and pushing against it. Well, are you sure you can't just throw one of these, throw one more in, or just do a little bit more of that? Or you don't mind if I call you on Sunday at 8 o'clock? You're welcome to call me on Sunday at 8 o'clock. I won't be answering the phone until Monday morning. Right. So that's an example of a boundary that's actually more of an invitation than a shove. It's, of course, you're welcome to call me anytime you would like. Here are the hours I return calls.
Scope creep. The struggle is real, Dr. Carrie.
Yes.
I teach people, agency owners, I teach pricing strategies. And one of the things is having different levels. And then when people want more, you say something like, "Oh, you want to upgrade from gold to platinum?
Of course I can do that. Here would be the price difference.
And here's the cost associated with that." Yeah, It's funny. Been in those conversations. People go, well, no, that's not what I wanted. And I said, well, I'm sorry, what did you want?
Uh-huh.
I wanted you to throw it in. And I was taught just to keep repeating it like a
Right.
question. You want me just to throw it in?
Mhm.
If you do it twice, they go like, never mind.
Right,
Nobody
right.
can keep saying, yes, I want you to throw it in and work for free. They hear
Uh-huh.
themselves say it and they know it's wrong. Oh, this has
And
been so great. Thank you
then
so
you
much
don't
for your
have to.
time today. Would love to have you back as a guest another time, but that was a great introduction to how to set client boundaries and the benefits to your business development when you do. So thank you so much for being here today, and thanks for all our listeners. Until we talk again, make it rain.